everybody. Today we're going to be making my homemade meatballs, and I make them a various different ways. Today I'm just going to throw them in my slow cooker with some sauce and some things. I normally make my own, but right now our tomato plants don't have fruit because they're still babies. So when they start producing fruit, you'll see a lot of more real homemade type of sauces and stuff. So over in this saute pan over here, I have an onion, 3 stalks of celery, and 2 cloves of garlic. And I just softened them. I didn't want much color on them because they're going to be going into the meatballs themselves. Over here I have some fresh basil and some fresh parsley that we got right from our own garden. So half of this is going to be going into the breadcrumbs, and half is going to be going into the meatballs. And I'll be back. Hi everybody. So I got my breadcrumbs already made. I figured there was no point in showing you how to make them because I already have a recipe on YouTube for those. So over here I have 2 pounds of ground beef. I have probably, I would guesstimate, about 3 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese. Over here I have some herbs. As you can see, I got some rosemary, basil, and a little bit of parsley. That's going into the sauce. I got confused there for a minute, sorry. This one is rosemary. This is what's going into the meatballs, guys. Sorry. It's one of those days. I got rosemary, thyme, Italian seasoning, and I have some Mrs. Dash tomato, basil, and garlic. And my breadcrumbs back here. Of course, I'm not going to use all those breadcrumbs, so what I don't use, I will freeze. And over here I have a beaten egg with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. Some people add milk to their meatballs and their meatloaves. I don't like that flavor. That's just a personal thing with me. So I figured the extra virgin olive oil would give it a little bit more liquid and then give it a little bit more Italian flavor. So to the meat and the cheese, I have my cold veggies that I showed you earlier. I'm just going to put them in here. These little buggers like to stick, don't they? Okay. And then I'm going to add the egg. I'm going to add my seasonings. And I'm going to maybe about a cup of breadcrumbs, maybe a little bit more. And to these breadcrumbs, instead of just the parsley, I added some basil to it too to give it a little bit of kick. I mean, we're making meatballs. Okay, I'm going to mix this all up, and I'll go away for a minute, and when I come back, we're going to put these on these 2 sheet pans over here at 350 degrees, and we're going to bake them. I'm not going to fry them. Some people do. I'm just going to par bake them because they're going to cook the rest of the way in the slow cooker. So I'll be back. Hi everybody. As you can see, I already have a pan full of meatballs. That's about the size you want them at because as they cook they're going to shrink down. I did off camera had to add about another 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil just because the ingredients were a little dry to me. You can add whatever wet ingredient you choose. I just don't like to add milk to meat. I don't think it's yummy, but that's why I use the extra virgin olive oil. And another reason why is because the meatballs won't stick. Because they already have that extra oil in there. I have extra lean ground beef is what I forgot to say earlier, what I used for the meatballs. So I'm just going to use this last one and roll him up and then put them on the pan. And I don't get too fussy with it. Some people say you should keep all the sizes uniform. And that's good in theory. If you're making these homemade, you really can't keep everything exactly the same unless you measure it or whatever. I'm not that technical in the kitchen. So I'm just going to add these to the oven to 350 degrees. And when you start to smell them, you should check on them because it's probably a good indicator that they're par cooked. and you want them par cooked because, like I said, they're going to cook the rest of the way in the slow cooker. And when I come back, I'll show you how I make the sauce that goes with the meatball subs. Hi everyone, what I have started over here is the sauce that's going to go with the meatballs, and all I have is I sauteed a medium to large onion with 3 cloves of garlic and a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, just a tiny bit because this recipe has a lot of extra virgin olive oil already in it. And anyway, I added about a 15-ounce can of tomato sauce and a 15-ounce can of diced tomatoes and their juice. And now to this, after it's heated through, I'm going to add my chopped up herbs that we did earlier. This is just rosemary, a little bit of parsley, and some fresh basil. So I'm going to put all these in here. Along with my seasonings that I used for the meatballs. You want to keep those flavors kind of uniform. I don't know how much that was, probably about a teaspoon or so, I guess. Some Italian seasoning, some thyme, and to give it a little extra depth of flavor, I add a little bit of balsamic vinegar to it. This is my secret ingredient for things that usually are quick cooking, for pastas or whatever. And as this cooks in the slow cooker, all these flavors, they're going to marry up with the flavors from the meatballs. And you would never know the tomato sauce and the tomatoes came from a can at all, because of all the extra goodies we added to it. So I'm just going to pour this sauce over the meatballs, and I'm just going to let these go all day long. The meatballs are fully cooked. I kind of overcooked them. My husband has been taste testing them, and he has one off to the side that I'm going to have him taste test for you guys without the sauce on it. Oops, sorry. Just bumped into my husband. So I'm going to cover this, and it's going to go, I'm going to let it go on low all day long, just so the flavors can marry up. So I'm going to take the camera from my husband, and he's going to taste test the meatball, and we'll be back when I show you what the sandwiches all look like all made up.
One meatball, par cooked, perfectly done, outstanding. I told her this would never see a sandwich until I had one, and I was right. See you next time.